In the name of Allah, the most merciful and the most compassionate. All praise belongs to Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth, and peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, the final messenger and the greatest guide for humanity. Today, we reflect upon the deep spiritual wisdom inspired by the early pages of Hazrat Sultan Bahoo's blessed book, Noor-ul-Huda, which means the light of guidance. In this sacred work, Hazrat Sultan Bahoo presents a powerful message for every seeker of truth, reminding humanity that real guidance does not come from wealth, status, or worldly intelligence, but from sincere faith, purified hearts, and complete surrender to Allah. From the very beginning of this book, he establishes that spiritual success is not achieved through external appearances, but through inner transformation, discipline of the soul, and continuous remembrance of the Creator. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo begins by emphasizing that Allah has created human beings with a noble purpose. We are not sent into this world merely to earn money, enjoy pleasures, and compete with others. We are sent to recognize Allah, worship Him sincerely, and live according to His divine guidance. When a person forgets this purpose, his life becomes empty, restless, and confusing, even if he appears successful in the eyes of society. According to Hazrat Sultan Bahoo, true guidance, Noor-ul-Huda, enters the heart only when a person becomes humble, sincere, and conscious of Allah in every aspect of life. Without this awareness, a person may possess knowledge, skills, and influence, but he remains spiritually blind. One of the main themes in the opening pages of Noor-ul-Huda is the purification of the heart. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo explains that the heart is the center of spiritual life. If the heart is filled with pride, jealousy, hatred, greed, and hypocrisy, it cannot receive divine light. Such a heart becomes dark and restless. No matter how many outward acts of worship a person performs, they cannot bring peace if the heart remains impure. Therefore, the first step toward guidance is cleansing the heart from negative qualities and replacing them with humility, sincerity, patience, and love for Allah. This purification is not achieved in one day. It is a lifelong struggle that requires honesty, discipline, and continuous effort. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo strongly warns against the deception of the nafs, the lower self. The nafs constantly invites a person towards selfish desires, arrogance, and disobedience. It makes him love praise and fear criticism. It convinces him that worldly success is everything and spiritual growth is secondary. As long as a person remains a slave of his nafs, he cannot walk on the path of guidance. Noor-ul-Huda teaches that the greatest jihad is the struggle against one's own ego. This struggle requires sacrificing comfort for truth, choosing obedience over desire, and controlling emotions and impulses. Those who succeed in this struggle gain inner strength and spiritual clarity. Another central teaching in the early pages is sincerity, known as ikhlas. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo explains that Allah does not look at the size of actions, but at the purity of intentions. A small deed performed sincerely for Allah is more valuable than a great deed done for showing off. Many people perform religious acts for social recognition, praise, or reputation. Such actions lose their spiritual value. A true seeker performs every act solely for Allah, whether he is alone or in public. This sincerity brings divine blessings and opens the doors of guidance. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo also highlights the importance of knowledge combined with practice. He explains that knowledge without action is useless. It is like a lamp without oil. Many people read books, attend lectures, and memorize religious information, but their character remains unchanged. They know what is right, yet they do not follow it. True knowledge transforms behavior. It creates honesty, humility, patience, and kindness. When knowledge enters the heart and is practiced sincerely, it becomes Noor, a light that guides a person through darkness. In Noor-ul-Huda, great importance is given to the remembrance of Allah, known as Zikr. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo teaches that Zikr is the food of the soul. Just as the body cannot survive without food and water, the soul cannot survive without remembrance. A heart without Zikr becomes spiritually dead. Zikr removes darkness, strengthens faith, and brings peace. When a person remembers Allah regularly, his fears decrease, his confidence increases, and his patience grows. Zikr connects the servant with his Creator and protects him from sinful influences. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo also explains the necessity of a true spiritual guide, known as a murshid. He states that spiritual journeys are difficult without proper guidance. A murshid is not someone who seeks fame or followers. He is someone who has purified his own soul and can guide others toward Allah. He helps the seeker recognize his faults, correct his mistakes, and strengthen his faith. Following a true murshid requires humility, obedience, and trust. Pride prevents people from benefiting from guidance, while humility opens the doors of wisdom. Contentment and trust in Allah are also emphasized in the early pages of Noor-ul-Huda. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo teaches that a true believer remains satisfied with Allah's decisions. He understands that every situation is a test. Wealth is a test, poverty is a test, health is a test, and illness is a test. Instead of complaining, he responds with patience and gratitude. This attitude creates inner stability and peace. A person who trusts Allah completely is not shaken by life's ups and downs. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo clarifies that spiritual guidance does not mean abandoning the world. Islam does not teach isolation from society. A seeker can work, earn, study, and raise a family. However, he should not become a slave of wealth or status. The world should be in his hands, not in his heart. Money should not create arrogance, and loss should not create despair. This balance is a sign of true guidance. Self-accountability is another powerful lesson in Noor-ul-Huda. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo encourages believers to examine themselves regularly. Instead of blaming others, they should correct their own faults. They should reflect on their intentions, words, and actions. They should seek forgiveness and guidance from Allah. This habit protects a person from arrogance and spiritual decline and keeps him focused on improvement. Good character is presented as a foundation of spiritual life. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo teaches that spirituality without good manners is incomplete. A guided person is gentle, honest, patient, and forgiving. He controls his anger and treats people with respect. He avoids harming others with words or actions. His character becomes a reflection of his inner purity. Through good character, he becomes a living example of Islam. Gratitude is also highlighted as an essential quality. Every blessing is a gift from Allah, whether it is health, family, knowledge, or opportunities. A grateful person recognizes these gifts and thanks Allah regularly. Gratitude increases blessings and removes greed. It creates contentment and happiness. Instead of chasing endless desires, a grateful person lives peacefully. Reliance on Allah, known as tawakkul, is another key teaching. Hazrat Sultan Bahoo explains that a believer should work hard and use his abilities, but he should not become obsessed with results. After making effort, he should trust Allah completely. He should believe that Allah's plan is always better than his own. This trust removes fear and anxiety and gives courage in difficult times. The early pages of Noor-ul-Huda also remind readers that life is temporary. Youth, wealth, beauty, and power will eventually fade. Only faith and good deeds will remain. A wise person prepares for the hereafter while living responsibly in this world. He uses his time wisely and avoids useless activities. He understands that every moment is an opportunity to please Allah. Through these teachings, Hazrat Sultan Bahoo invites humanity to return to simplicity, sincerity, and spirituality. In a world filled with distractions, competition, and materialism, Noor-ul-Huda calls people back to inner peace and divine connection. It teaches that real happiness does not come from possessions, but from contentment. It does not come from applause, but from Allah's approval. In conclusion, the early pages of Noor-ul-Huda present a complete foundation for spiritual guidance. They teach purification of the heart, control of the ego, sincerity, remembrance, humility, good character, and trust in Allah. They show that true guidance is not external, but internal. It is a light that enters the heart and transforms life. Those who follow this path sincerely are granted peace, strength, and closeness to Allah. May Allah grant us the ability to understand these teachings, practice them in our lives, and remain steadfast on the path of truth. May He fill our hearts with Noor, forgive our mistakes, and guide us toward eternal success. Ameen.